Hey guys, happy Friday. I just got back from court because your girl got 2 speeding tickets back to back. So I went trying to get some points taken off my license because if I get pulled over again, I get my license taken away. And sure enough, the judge was feeling some holiday spirit and completely dismissed my case. I did have to pay court costs, but got rid of 4 points. So your girl's excited, so let's do a YouTube video. So at the beginning of this week, the CPA results were released for some of us who took exams months ago. They just now released our scores. And I found out that I passed audit finally. So I'm going to link the video up here, whichever side it pops up on, any of these corners of the last video I videotaped if you haven't seen it yet.
Did she just say videotape? What is this, the 90s?
Of talking about that last audit release and how excited I was. If you want to watch it, you don't have to. You don't even have to watch this one. Stop it right now if you don't want to watch it. So several of you commented on that last video saying that you wanted me to talk about the audit exam because you're probably preparing for it, or you're thinking about preparing for it, or you're still considering whether being a CPA is worth it or not. And I will tell you, to answer that question, it's a long journey. So this video will be talking about the audit exam, my arch nemesis. So in case you're out of the loop, you don't even know who I am, you just decided to click on the video because you're bored at work. I have taken the audit exam 4 times. I failed 3 times. I didn't just take it for fun passing it. So I failed the exam 3 times. My full-time profession is an auditor. So I know better than anybody what is on these audit exams. So I just wanted to take some time, sit down, talk about as much as I know about the audit exam, what I feel about it, and hopefully it will help you as you prepare for it. And hopefully it doesn't intimidate you, because let me tell you, there are several people that say audit is the hardest exam for them. There are some people that say it's the easiest exam for them. Every single candidate is different. You think differently. We all process differently. We're all accountants for different reasons. So I'm going to kind of give you a little timeline of when I took my exams, how much I studied each week, what I thought about each exam. And it's going to be kind of an unstructured video because I'm just going to be talking about it. So comment below if you have any additional questions that I didn't really cover. But I started studying for this audit exam January 2nd, 2018. I started at the beginning of the year, but I was like, hallelujah, New Year's, so starting the 2nd. And I was on a local audit, so I was in Nashville living in my apartment. So I went home every night, which was nice. I had roommates, so I wasn't by myself, but I worked 6 to 2:30, which was awesome. As far as I got up at 4, which kind of sucked, but worked a full day, got home at about 4 in the afternoon because the traffic in Nashville is ridiculous. Studied for about 4 to 5 hours every single night. On the weekends, I was very disciplined and motivated and just structured with my study schedule. I studied 8 to 10 hours every single Saturday and Sunday. Now, just because I'm saying that does not mean that you have to study that much. Everybody is different. Once again, it takes me twice as much study time to understand what a normal person would get the first time around, and it sucks, let me tell you. But I do think the studying a lot helps, although that first exam did not go well whatsoever. I took it at the end of February, bombed it completely, like was not even close. I scored a 60. I'm not even sure what I did to change when I was restudying for the second take. I just went through the textbook again, kind of skimmed the chapters. I did tons of MCQs, multiple choice questions, simulations over and over and over again. I did tons of simulations. So then I retook the exam at the beginning of April, I think. And the results weren't going to be posted for like 3 months. So at that point, I was switching audits. So while I'm waiting for my audit results from the second exam, of which I felt good about, I left that second exam feeling okay. Now, I didn't know for sure. I wasn't like 100% that I passed, but I was pretty certain. Like, I felt relieved. I slept well that night. I was like, it's over with. I'm done with audit. So I kind of for sure thought I passed, to be honest. I didn't tell everyone that just in case I failed, but I was pretty certain. So then, in the meantime, I picked up FAR for like 5 minutes and decided absolutely not. I do not need that kind of negativity in my life. It was way over my head. I was not prepared for that kind of knowledge. So I put FAR to the side after about a week. I studied it for about a week. And then I picked up Reg. And this is before I knew that it was even changing. So I'm very glad that I got Reg out of the way. I studied for Reg. I went on a travel audit. I was traveling 4.5 hours away, staying in hotels every night. And on travel audits, we work 4-day weeks, and less busy season, and we work 5-day weeks. So we have to work 10-hour days. And the building I was at didn't open until I think 7 in the morning, which is kind of late for us. We always start work at 6. So it was kind of later in the day. Like, I wasn't getting home until about 5. I studied for about 2 or 3 hours every night for reg every day, and then where we were working on that audit site was in a library. So it was ideal and perfect for studying on my lunch breaks. It was absolutely perfect. So then I took my reg exam in mid-July while I was on that travel audit. I got my audit results back on the same day, but I think I waited. There was like a week in there when I knew one of them was posted. I was afraid to check. Maybe it was my audit was posted, but I still had to take reg, so I didn't want to look until I took reg. That might have been what happened. You guys can watch my YouTube video if you can remember. I can't remember exactly how that worked, but somewhere in there, results are posted, and I waited like 8 days before checking, which was crazy. I don't know how I did that. But I passed reg the first time, which was a miracle from God himself. I still cannot believe I passed it. I'm very thankful that I did. But I failed audit again. Okay, so I failed audit, and I thought for sure I passed it, guys. Like, oh my gosh, I was so discouraged. And big girls don't cry. Like, I was certain I passed that audit exam, so that was very discouraging. So then I'm gearing up for my third take of audit, okay guys? So I gave myself like a month. I was like, okay, Heaven, we're gonna focus, we're gonna sit down, and we're gonna study for this exam. So like a straight month. This time I transferred to another travel audit here in Knoxville. It's actually the audit I'm on right now. This is when it started in like August or so, somewhere around there. Studied every single day. I was driving back and forth from Knoxville to Nashville. I was living in a hotel / my parents are from here where I grew up, so I went to their house a lot, which didn't really help on studying, but it was good to see the fam. So, studied all the time. Now, on this third take of audit, it's kind of an outlier, kind of frustrating because my stomach, I have IBS, I'm putting that out there, TMI, but I have a very irritable stomach that can't control itself at times, especially in social situations. So, in the middle of that exam, my stomach freaked out. I was in like panic mode. It was not good. I could not focus. Horrible situation. So I flew through that third audit exam. So basically, I just wasted $300 on that exam because I could not put effort into it. Like the simulations, my stomach was feeling better during the simulations, but my multiple choice was out the window. Like I literally ran through as fast as I could. Anyways, long story short, failed that exam. So third take, and it was just stupid because I knew that was not, I think I would have passed it the third time. I'm just very frustrated. I scored a 72 on it. I scored a 73 on the time before that in that second take. So I scored a 60 the first time, 73, 72 the third time. So then for this fourth audit exam, y'all, living here in Knoxville, moved into my own apartment. I was on a local audit now. I was on the same audit that was a travel audit from Nashville, but since I live in Knoxville, it's now a local audit. So I'm commuting to work every day. Studied here every day, but more than anything on this fourth audit exam, I was just angry at the examiners. I was frustrated. I felt like they are winning over me. Like those CPA examiners have it over me, and they're controlling my destiny and my happiness and my hope. I was just very angry. So I went into that fourth exam just like with an army behind me of just a bunch of me's, just 20 of me's going in there. Like, we're gonna beat this no matter what. It was like war, okay, y'all? So I gave that exam everything I had. I went through the multiple choice and I was trying not to overthink anything, and I just went through it and I answered, apparently, a lot of them correct because I finally passed it with an 82. Now, how I went from a 72 to an 82 is beyond me, but I'm very thankful and finally got that audit exam behind me. Finally. Whew! Y'all, I talk too much. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of this, so this video is gonna be 50 minutes long by stuff y'all don't even care about. So all of that being said, with the exams that I took, number one, every exam was very different. That being said, each one had very different simulations. So if you retake an exam, I'm telling you guys, don't be intimidated by the uncertainty of what's gonna be on the exam. Look at it as an opportunity. You failed the first one because you didn't understand the concepts well enough. So how about you take it again and see if your strong points are going to be what's tested? There's a high chance of that happening, I'm telling you. The audit exam in general, for me, the biggest issue, just summing it up in like 2 words, one long word, are simulations. The task-based simulations killed me every single time. You get a score report back when you fail it. We actually had request hours in Tennessee. They stopped sending them out automatically. So I emailed that lady. I was like, girl, where's my score report? And she sent it to me like through email. And I excelled in the multiple choice. Every single exam except for that third one. It was ugly. It was bad. But I excelled in the multiple choice. So the simulations are what's screwing me up. So what I did going into that fourth exam, again, third and fourth, I just wasn't prepared for the third because of my stomach, was I did simulation after simulation after simulation. I was like Googling simulations. I was going on some random third-party Japanese websites that had simulations on there for the CPA exam. Who knows if they're even like legit or not. It's a wonder my computer didn't get a virus. I did like a few multiple choice, but I didn't want to overthink any of them, so I just focused on simulations. That was me, my own personal, what I struggled with. Also, you need to understand if you retake an exam, or if you're about to take an exam or whatever, that your score does not mean percent. A lot of people misunderstand that. If you score a 70 and you failed it, you did not score 70%. That's not how it works. If you scored 80, it's not an 80%. The examiners have a curve, and they have a certain percentage of test takers that can pass each quarter. And I am fairly confident that my second exam, because I felt like it went so well, I think I got hurt by the curve. I think a ton of other candidates did really well on the exam, but they did better than I did percentage-wise, so they got to pass, but they can't pass everybody, so they held me behind. That could be me just making up stuff, but think about it, you guys. Google the pass rates from the AICPA. They post it on their website after every quarter, and think about it yourself. I'm telling you, you may think I'm crazy, but it's a little manipulative, and it's not really fair. Just saying. Also, with audit, this old man is seriously like walking around my car out there like, it ain't for sale. It's my baby. It's my firstborn. Actually, my secondborn, my firstborn, a little SUV. It couldn't go up hills. Audit is very subjective. If you haven't taken that exam yet, it is very different than the other exams. Now, I have not taken FAR or BEC yet, but through studying BEC and what I looked at FAR for 5 minutes, audit has very minimal calculations, a lot less math, it's more theory and concept based. It is very subjective. There's lots of gray area. And with the multiple choice, several questions, if not half, 50% of the questions have 2 right answers. So if you're like me and you suck at taking exams just naturally, that's going to be a nightmare of an exam for you. I took audit first because I'm an auditor and I expected that to be the easiest exam of the 4. But now that I'm looking at the others, I think I have a better chance of taking the more math-intensive exams, as you may as well. We're all accountants here. We like math. We're not English majors. So keep that in mind if you're trying to compare the exams or figure out what pattern you want to take them in. Audit is one of the shorter ones. Like with Becker, it has 6 units as well as BEC. They both have 6 units, and then FAR has 10 and Reg has 8. So audit and BEC are the smallest. But it is very different, so keep that in mind. Also, as an auditor taking audit, I have read on Another 71 on their forums and stuff, several auditors that fail audit and they're humiliated. It's like degrading, you know, they're getting made fun of at work, or they're not telling anybody that they failed or whatever. And, you know, it makes me feel better because I'm an auditor who failed and I kind of laugh about it. But, like, I don't want my client knowing I failed audit. Like, that's embarrassing. That's humiliating. But I think for me, at least, I can't really speak for everybody, but I understand audit in a big picture idea. I understand things well. So when I'm tested on it, I think about each question like too much. It's overthinking for sure. But like I'll take a concept that it's asking me, and then I'll be like, but what if this? But what if this? But what if this happens? And that's not what the examiner's asking you about. All they want to know is this question up here, this shallow question. And here I am diving in the deep end without goggles trying to answer. So other auditors, I'm sure, are doing that, as well as tax professionals taking reg. They may be overthinking stuff if they're failing reg. I was overthinking every question. So if you're a fellow auditor who has failed audit, you're not alone and you're not dumb. At least I'm telling myself that. And as for my study materials, I study with Becker. I think I mentioned that probably several times. And I love Becker. I love the way it's formatted. I love the lectures. The lecturers are engaging. It is entertaining at times. It's not hard to force myself to study hard concepts because I am engaged in the lecture. The lectures are longer than other study courses from what I've heard and compared for myself. But I am better, like it's almost like I'm in class. And I do well in a classroom setting with someone explaining it to me. So I am a lecture learner, if that makes any sense. The skills practice is great. Multiple choice questions are almost identical to what's on the exam with Becker. So very well prepared multiple choice questions. So everything is great except for, and Becker's going to kill me for saying this, but with audit, the simulations I do not think were well prepared for candidates on the exam. I don't think the simulations are up to par. And what I mean by that specifically is the audit simulations with Becker they take, like, let's say a payroll department. Let's say they give you 5 exhibit tabs of different worksheets and walkthroughs and like an email from a CEO, and it'll all have to do with payroll. So let's say you're auditing payroll and the employees, checking ghost employees or salaries or whatever, time cards. They will give you everything with payroll and then tell you to answer the simulation, which is great. And then you answer it and you're like, I'm good to go, I'm ready to take this exam. And then you sit down on the real exam, and all the exhibit tabs have to do with the entire corporation. They'll give you stuff with HR and suppliers and vendors, and you have to sort through all this information to figure out what you need to answer the payroll questions. It's more of an overall, and that's a really bad example, but from my experience on the 4 exams I took, the simulations on the real audit exam were more of an overall picture. And what I was prepared for with Becker were these small units. Like, I could answer them really well, but I didn't know what to use. I didn't know which exhibit tabs were useful. I didn't know which information to throw out that was fluff. So I think that's just my own personal opinion with the Becker simulations for audit. And I even feel bad just saying that. Like, I'm being very honest with you guys, but Becker would kill me if they heard all that. Overall, like with reg, they did superb. I felt very prepared for reg, and I'm a terrible test taker and passed it the first time. So everything went well with reg, and I do think I was well prepared all parts of that exam. Audit, I have some problems with. I also purchased CPA, or the Becker Final Review, which is, you can get it before you take your exam, or what I'm gonna do is if I fail an exam, I'll get the final review. It's like a supplemental smaller portion of the entire book. It's like basically like a crash course of the full course or whatever you want to call it. So I did get that after I failed it twice, so before the 3rd and 4th. And I do think it helped. It basically summed up everything in a smaller version. So if you go through the final review and do all the multiple choice and simulations, I think that does prepare you. But the simulations are the same. It's just how Becker does it, I guess. And I really hate to say that because I really like Becker other than that. And I mentioned earlier that I did study a ton of hours every week. When I was living in Nashville, I was studying 25 to 30 hours every single week, like religiously studying all the time. Now that I'm in Knoxville, I'm in busy season right now, so it's a bad comparison. I'm only studying about 15 hours a week right now, but starting in the spring when I'm back to normal hours, I will be traveling again in the spring, so I'll be back to hotels in 4-day weeks. But I do plan to study about 25 would be max, but about 20 hours a week studying when I start FAR and stuff. I think that's a good balance with myself. And that's something as a candidate, when you're studying, you have to learn for yourself how many study hours it's going to take for you to pass, how much you can handle, what your focus time is. Like, I have a coworker who literally cannot sit still for an hour. He literally studies in like 30 minutes at a time. Like, he'll do like 30 minutes 3 times a day. Like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner will study for 30 minutes, and that's it. He'll do that for like 2 months, and he's ready to take the exam. If I did that, y'all, they'd have the lowest score in history. Like, they'd be like, who the heck is this girl? Go find her, knock on her door, and tell her she's never going to be a CPA, because I need way more study time than that. So it's different for every person, but for me, I am very lecture-based. I need somebody to explain it to me. I also need to follow along when I'm reading, and I really like paper, so I love textbooks. And 20 years from now, or even 5 years from now, I guarantee it's going to be all digital on the computer, and I would die. Like, I do not do that. I did not do the electronic digital textbooks in college. I refused to do that. Not the way I study, but anyways, I'm going on a tangent about stuff in the future. It's not even here yet. But I think most of the exam struggles with the CPA is learning how to take the exam. And when I tell people that, they literally laugh. They're like, what do you mean, how to take the exam? They're like, answer the right questions. Yeah, it's not that simple. But the CPA exam is very different than any other standardized exam, and the task-based simulations, I can't even like explain them to people who don't know what the CPA exam is like. Like my parents, I don't even know how to tell them what a task-based simulation is. It's just very complicated to explain. So that alone, if you can't explain it, then you obviously don't understand it well enough. I do not understand the simulations. They're a headache, a nightmare, and I dread them, and I get anxiety from looking at it as simulation. It's like an overload of information, and you only need like bits and pieces from it, and that's what I struggle with. So that is all that I have for you guys about the audit exam. I feel like I talked really fast. I always tell myself before I film a video, I'm like, talk a lot slower, Heaven. And then I'll replay some clips, and I'm like, I talk really fast, so I'm sorry. I can do some slow-mo if you'd like. I should have just done the slow-mo on the camera and not actually did it in slow-mo. Y'all, I'm so weird. I can feel my friends judging me right now. There's Matthew and Julian. You guys remember them? They've been in some vlogs. There's my sister. Okay, I'm going to stop giving you guys a tour. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below if you have any questions. Also, email me if you have questions you don't want everyone to see in the comments. heavensaudventure@gmail.com. It's literally like my channel name @gmail.com. I don't check that email every day, but I do check it sometimes. And a couple of you have emailed me, so great. Also, I've got news for you guys. I just opened up a P.O. box. And I opened it up like literally a week ago from today and haven't told anybody about it yet. So here I am paying for a P.O. box and nobody knows about. Where's my postcards? I collect postcards from everywhere, from everyone. So if you guys want to send me a postcard from your city, or if you guys go on vacation, or if your family goes on vacation, tell them to pick up a postcard because you got somebody you want to send it to. And send it to me. I will put the P.O. box address down here. I would love to receive a postcard, and I will totally send you guys one. If you give me your address, I'll send you a postcard from Knoxville. I've also got like 10 left from Nashville that people didn't want. People are not as interested in postcards as I am. I bought like 20 because it was a sale, and I'm stuck with like probably 19 of them. I don't know. Mom wanted one. Also, y'all, I just spent like an hour trying to take a picture for Instagram, so you can go like it if you want. @Gods_home. You get it because your name's Heaven. God's home. Yeah, that picture was not easy to do. It has to be like halved perfectly in the middle, and I don't live with anybody, so I had to use self-timer. So it took about, I don't know, 1,003 tries to get that picture right. So go like it, go look at it if you want. You can be Instagram buddies. Yeah. Okay, y'all, bye. So in case you're out of the loop, get in the loop, subscribe. That was so cheesy, I take it back. So in case you're out of the loop, or you haven't been following along, or you don't even know who I am, hi, my name's Heaven, nice to meet you. Oh, there's a cute old man outside. Oh, he's got a dog. That's an ugly dog.